A warm welcome to all our esteemed panelists and all of you. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to Entrepreneurship Bootcamp 0 to 1, How to Build the Future by IMC YLF. I would like to hand it over to Mr. Mangrulkar to take it ahead.
Thank you, Vidhi, and a very good afternoon to all of you. We are pleased to welcome all our distinguished guests for this exclusively curated series of the Entrepreneurship Bootcamp 0 to 1, How to Build the Future, organized by the IMC's Young Leaders Forum. Under this series, till date, we have organized various interesting talks on the business of EdTech, the business of cryptocurrency, the business of art and NFTs, wellness, and today another interesting topic to understand the business of digital entrepreneurship. Digital transformation has drastically changed the way we operate, and the pace at which it is accelerating is remarkable. In fact, in the 2 years of COVID, it's only been digital all the way. In addition to the fact that digitalization is continuously changing, thereby enhancing productivity without compromising on efficiency. It has also had a phenomenal impact on how we lead our lives. With a click of a button, we can transfer funds to anyone across the globe. From conducting virtual interviews to teaching online, computers have instantaneously replaced classrooms during the pandemic. Most things have become simpler, more accessible, and faster, to say the least, all thanks to digital conversion. You all would agree that digital transformation is a business transformation. Some prefer to use the term digital business transformation, which is more in line with the business aspect of these conversions. The factors that influence or drive digital transformation are innovations in technology, operational processes, business models, and customer experience, to name a few. And in fact, it has leading companies perplexed as to what will it take to stay on the top as technology takes over today's lifestyle and disrupts every part of how their business operates. Let's hear it now from the industry experts to give us new insights from the business of digital entrepreneurship. I would like to welcome Ms. Shan Khanna, founder Networking Now India, Ms. Aradhana Minwala, co-founder CAI Store, Ms. Gauri Nair, co-founder Twain Communications, Ms. Nitya Arora, founder and designer, Valiant Jewelry. The objective of today's event is to apprise the participants about business of digital entrepreneurship, as it plays a pivotal role in driving socio-economic transformation, increasing efficient production and distribution of goods and services, opening up new opportunities for income generation for millions of people, enhancing connectivity between people, societies, and organizations on the globe. Let me give you just a see. The IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry is a premier chamber of commerce in the country with a very rich legacy spanning well over 100 years of excellent service to trade, industry, and commerce. With its membership base of over 5,000 members and over 150 trade associations affiliated to it, the chamber represents and advocates the 4 lakh establishments across the country from diverse sectors of industry. Through its various expert committees, IMC provides policy inputs for the government, both central and state, and is continually engaged in interaction with policymakers at various levels. The chamber is now a cradle for nurturing young talents and promoting emancipation of women through Young Leaders Forum and Ladies Wing, which have become embodiments of youth, enterprise, active thought leadership, and movement for women empowerment and entrepreneurship. The theme for the year is Engaging Maharashtra, Building India. I once again welcome all of you. I am sure by the end of this session, you will increase your digital intellect and have qualitative information on many digital solutions you can use to enhance your business productivity. Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mangrulkar. Today's topic is the business of digital entrepreneurship. So to discuss this, we have the privilege to have with us today the experts for the very best. We're happy to have with us Aradhana Meenawala, co-founder and coup for Kai Store. For Kai to reach the pinnacle of success, it has taken two competent entrepreneurs who dare to take an unprecedented business stride and shape an extraordinary trend in the footwear league. Aradhana and Dhanraj together launched the Kai Store with the sole purpose of providing fashionable footwear that is manufactured without the use of leather, with contemporary styles and a compassionate virtue, warranting the tagline, handmade with love. Kai began its journey with the compassionate motive of providing non-leather shoes and footwear locally and globally to the trend-conscious market at a pocket-friendly rate. The brand incorporates a vast collection ranging from open and closed flats to heels and wedges in multiple colors, patterns, and embellishments. Remaining true to their homegrown and bespoke sensibilities, the Kai Store offers customization and believes in prioritizing customer satisfaction to create fashion-forward styles with impeccable quality. We're also delighted to have it.
Just a minute. I think we have just lost Vidhi. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Just a moment. So may I request Shan to moderate the event, Miss Shan?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
Yes,
Can you hear me? Okay, great. So I hope it's on full screen because I can only see Aradhana. So
yeah,
okay,
I'll just
awesome.
put everybody along.
Okay, that's better. So hi and welcome. I know Vidhi was meant to do the introductions for 3 of my guests today, but I'm going to give you a quick, if you could just unmute all Gauri, Nitya and Aradhana. I think they're having difficulty being unmuted. I think that the brief given to me when Vidhi spoke to me was to get people that will have grown their business digitally and people who can actually give sound advice on how this is done the easy way. The reason I chose this panel, firstly, I have to say, like Vidhi told me, it's the first all-women panel on the IMC platform, which I'm very happy about. I'm happy that I am the first to do that. Also, that the idea was digital entrepreneurship, and I know very closely that Aradhana and Nitya have both built their brands digitally in the last I would say 2 to 4 years. I'm not going to only say 2 years in the digital mode, very, very much. And I'm very happy to have you both here, Nitya and Aradhana, because I know you have firsthand from a brand's perspective. Gauri, I've worked with you a lot, and you have built so many other brands, your clients and people around you through your agency as well. So thank you, because I know all 3 of you will have very different advice to give. I want to give a quick introduction. Gauri and Reena run a company called Twain Communications, which is a PR firm, and they work with a lot of different fashion and lifestyle brands. Nitya runs 2 companies actually called Malai Lifestyle, which is clothing, and also Valia, which is her jewelry. She's also a luxury fashion consultant to lots of other brands. So that's just quickly to, Aradhana's introduction was given. I don't have the paper in front of me, so that was my quick bit, but I'm going to get started. And Nitya, I want to ask you the first question. For everyone listening, and a lot of people listening here are still in college, right? There are a lot of people studying in college and looking to, today the careers with digital are huge. The possibilities are endless. So I want to ask you first to start off with, because you have been an influencer from day one, but you're a very recent social media influencer in the sense that you've recently taken, you put out a lot of content. So I know you personally, but if you could just help others understand, is your real life, Nitya Arora, the same as your digital life and what you put out there as content? How real does one have to be on social media to succeed?
Well, very close. I'm very close to the real me online. I would say very close, and not exactly who I am is because I'm very politically incorrect in real life, and I cannot be. I was extremely politically incorrect in the beginning, and then I realized very quickly that I think some things I should just leave for my inner circle. So having said that, I think I'm very candid with my online persona, and I'm very impulsive in nature. And I think that really translates well, you know, if things are very, you can completely authentic, and I like to be really authentic. I don't like to be extremely cautious and planned. I've never planned anything in my life, right from like starting my jewelry brand to even starting this Instagram page, for example. It was literally a byproduct of the lockdown because I was bored sitting at home and I had nothing like to do except for my and I had no other outlet except for my phone. So up until 2019, I never posted on my personal account. It was mainly Valia. And then I just decided to kind of creative direct my own Instagram page. And I realized that it has made such a big difference to even my brands, you know, in general. I think that people identify, they want to see the person behind the brand. They want to see like, you know, the brains or the personality behind the brands. And I think that this helps me connect with that audience really well as well.
Okay,
You're
sorry,
mute,
I was on mute. Yeah. So thanks, Nithya, for that. I think it's very important what you said. There has to be that percentage difference. You can't, unfortunately, with social media, with trolls and the world out there, we can't be 100% giving our opinion. But I
sorry,
think,
I just wanted to say one more thing also is
yeah.
that, you know, it's just like, it's like an anecdote, like an example, like when you walk into your living room, when your guests walk into your living room, they see mainly images or pictures of you and your family smiling, laughing, and like really pleasant images. And no one puts up pictures of themselves like really sobbing or crying or, you know, really sad and depressed. So I feel like, at least this is my opinion, that your Instagram page doesn't have to be talking about, you know, your personal stuff and like things that you deal with on a personal level. I know a lot of people do it, but I try to refrain from posting too much about, you know, the negative aspects, or I like it to be more of a happy page than like something that's real. Not
And I
like the
think that
happy is not real.
that definitely comes across. Yeah, that definitely comes across. And I agree, like everyone has a different style. I think you've carved out your style, social media style in that way. In fact, Aradhana, I want to ask you that since like Nithya is a person, Nithya is Nithya on Instagram, right? Though she does have her Valia page, but today she's also, her personal stuff is on Nithya Arora. In terms of Kai, yours is a brand. It's something you've built from scratch, and it's something you've taken the efforts through, you know, micro influencers, influencers, whatever you've done in the digital space. Do you feel as a brand, you have different growth opportunities as opposed to what an individual or a social media influencer would have? What would you say is the difference?
So I'll be honest, a brand, when it's a brand, it's easier to separate yourself and make the decisions that are completely strategic for your company, because there are a lot of things that I may not agree as an individual in terms of a product or something, but I have to respect that, you know, that my product designer has decided something that is going to be aligned to Kai sensibility. And so it really helps you, you know, you're not influenced by one person's likes or dislikes. It's the brand's, you have to see the ecosystem and sensibility of the brand that it matches. So you can actually separate yourself from, you have the freedom to separate yourself from the brand. Also, another thing is that with a brand, it's not just an individual's effort, it's a team effort. So it's just not one person who's contributing, it's the entire team. And also in a brand, you get to constantly broaden our horizon. Like for Kai, we can constantly broaden our horizon into being in different categories. So you're not just one thing, you can do multiple things.
Absolutely. I think the most important is that you can separate the person from the brand. You don't have to be the face. Like Nithya will have to actually show up.
Correct.
For Kai, you can work with different people representing Kai. And of course, you and Dhanraj can show up at times on the page too. Thanks for that. Okay, so Gauri, I'm going to ask you from a completely different perspective, being a PR expert and somebody who promotes either individuals or brands. What advice do you actually give your clients, how to grow their brand digitally?
So I would say that, we give different advice to clients if they want to grow the brand and if they want to grow themselves. I think that, as Nitya was completely spot on when she said that authenticity is really at the core of it, right? Because ultimately, I think that, the audiences are too savvy at this point to look at something that seems, too polished or too glossy. They really want to connect. And I think especially, through a time like COVID, so much changed where connection was concerned, where it was very important for both brands and individuals who are brands themselves when they go into the realm of Instagram or into the public eye, to be able to find their niche and to really engage with their audiences. So what we tell both brands and individuals is that be ready to be on Instagram, be a public figure. That's really important, because I think a lot of times they're not ready, they may not know what it takes. Also engage very frequently, because ultimately you can't put up one post or share a few stories and then say, all right, where are my followers? I think it's really important to also have consistency, because that is really how you're going to be able to make your name, create your niche, and really engage with people. And also be comfortable with what you want to put out there. Like Nitya said, she's not comfortable necessarily showing maybe the more trying times of life, or something like that. Some people build their brands out of that because they feel like they've had struggles and they therefore want to talk about it and share it with their audiences. So I think it's also important to draw that line for individuals who are looking to be personalities online on what they're most comfortable talking about, because then you have to retain that consistency. Your audience will start expecting certain themes from you, certain topics, certain things that they can come to your page to know more about, right? And I think similarly for brands as well, it's really important to have that voice, and therefore your audience will therefore know, all right, I'm going to this brand because these are the things they believe in. So these are it's a quick snapshot of how we say, we advise both brands and individuals to be online. That's just a great starting point.
Awesome. Thanks, Gauri, for that. I think that's very true. It's like they say, right? Keep 3 colors in mind for your brand so that people relate to whenever you put up a post. So thanks for that advice. Nitya and Aradhana, I'm going to ask you a very similar question. Nitya, I'm going to go with you first. I want to know 2 things. One is, how do you maintain your relationship with your digital audience? Because here we have stories, we have feed posts, today you have polls and questions. What kind of works for you? And is that what, do you use these features? Or do you go live often? What really works? And my second question is, how do you keep up with digital trends? This is something that I know you create your own trends very often. You are trying to do it very differently. So if you could just help us on both. How do you keep up with your digital audience, and how do you keep up with digital trends?
So I think like the way I keep up with my digital audience is I just talk about things that they can relate to, or I chat with them like I would chat with a friend of mine. Like, for example, if I make an observation at the airport, when I'm traveling, or if I make an observation when I'm eating, or just like, general banter, like I kind of move into that zone of like general banter. And then people respond a lot, like when they relate to what I'm saying, or I'm like cracking a joke, or being sarcastic. My sense of humor is like based on sarcasm, so I'm like very sarcastic, and then people will laugh or like interact with me like that. My parents, I will kind of like do random stories of my parents because I find it really funny. So I think sense of humor is like a big one for me. I don't do too many questions. Maybe once in a while I'll do questions. And polls. I do a lot of polls actually. I'll just like check with my audience what I should buy, and just get their opinion to see what they like or what they don't like. Or if I find a trend that's very random, then I'll ask them what they think about it. And in terms of like new trends, digital trends, like for example, Reels, it became such a big trend, and it was like, everyone was like, oh dude, you have to make Reels if you want followers and you want views. And I was just like, no chance. Like I can't do it. Like I have 5 or 6 Reels, but only when I really feel like I can, like I want to put in the effort to like create a nice video or like a reel, or displaying a certain kind of product will really look good in a reel format. Or if I have like a lot of things to say in, and I think the reel format is the best way to like, say it, then I will do a reel. Otherwise, I refrain from doing that. And like you said, I try to do things in my own way, because that's the only way I enjoy it. And for me, like, whether it's designing a line and a product, or whether it's, creating content, just creating in general, it has to make me happy, and it has to be fulfilling for me. Everything else is secondary. Like, I don't care about algorithms. I don't care about, what the brand is saying. I don't care about anything. I need to enjoy it, because that's the only way I can be authentic to my audience and to myself.
That's lovely actually to hear, and so refreshing. I'm going to ask Aradhana the exact opposite. I guess, Aradhana, you're talking from a brand's point of view, so very different. You wish you could possibly say some of the things like Nitya, like, I wish I could do it my way, but very different when it comes to brand. I want to ask you again two things. One is, how do you keep up with digital trends for your brand? Do you, do every trend that's new? Does it work for a brand? Because it could. And the second thing is, how do you keep up with your audience in terms of, what's the difference between just keeping in touch with them, or from a sales perspective, giving them like a call to action, click here to buy? So what's that difference?
So Shan, for us, our community is everything. We've built a very strong community in the last 2 to 3 years. We know what our audience wants, because we are constantly talking to them. Like Nitya said, we do a lot of polls. So when we're designing something, and whether it's a color or a design, or we're confused with the color, and in the team we're just arguing and we're taking feedback, we just put it up there on Instagram and say, okay, hey guys, do you like this color, or do you like that color? And there's so many times that they don't always agree with us, and that's great, because we're trying to ask them, what do you want, and we'll give it to you. So whether it comes to product, whether it comes to price or color, we are always chatting with our audience. And I think that's what's really made us a very close-knit community, because we know what they want, and they are telling us, okay, this is what we're looking for. So when it comes to even products on our page, whether, do you like style products to be seen as the first image instead of a black, white background image? They all want to see something styled, because, we're telling them how they should style it. We are putting it on real people every day. We have this property called walk in your Kai shoes. So someone who's walking in this, wearing different outfits through their day in our Kai shoes. So that's something our audience loves. That's how we created our really strong audience. We listen to them, take their feedback, and I think that works really well, because their mindset really matches our mindset. So that connect is really key. When it comes to digital trends, of course, we're a digitally grown brand. So that's something that we're always trying to keep, updated on. We also know what works for us, what doesn't, but speed is the key. So how fast we adapt to it is very important. And there are a lot of things that we don't do because it doesn't match our ethos, it doesn't match our sensibilities, because at the end we want our content to be fashion focused, shoes focused, and we do put a little bit of business in it.
Tips.
Yeah, tips.
Yeah. So your community is known as the Kai Clique, right?
Clique, yes.
So which is very cool. Whenever someone wears a pair of shoes, they actually post for you, and they're part of the community then.
We have at least 20 to 25 DMs a day where we have customers styling our shoes and then putting them up, and they want to be featured on our page. So we get user generated content at least every single day, which is great, because they want to be featured, they want to be, like I'm wearing Kai, they're not ashamed to say it. Like, it's become a thing, which is really, really cool. And I think we're really proud of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that was also, that's amazing, because you created your Kai community, and that's part of your digital strategy on how you guys grew as well. Yeah. So if there's anyone who's a brand owner here, that's a great tip Aradhana has shared. So thanks for that. Gauri, I move on to you and ask you a bit of the PR aspect of it. So two things again. One is, do you think traditional, according to me, I feel traditional PR is so yesterday, PR agencies, and it's become more of ideating together strategies and different PR strategies. So do you think traditional PR is very yesterday, or do you still see it with some of your clients now going for traditional PR? And the second second thing I want to ask you is, do you find a lot more of your clients coming for you for the digital route? So not just saying, Gauri, we don't really want print articles, but help us grow online. What are your thoughts?
Those are great questions. And I think that the answer is still a bit of both. So I think that when we started Twain about 8 years ago, it was very, we were purely a PR firm, but we quickly realized that we had to really pivot very fast and become, more marketing and, just communications overall, because it is true that traditional PR is dying out. And it's sad because I come from a very traditional PR background, over the years, but we still do have many clients who really value that, piece in a magazine or, coverage in a newspaper. So we still do work very closely with clients to get them that kind of coverage, which I think that, it holds a certain value for clients who might be a little more traditional in their approach as well. I think also, some have investors who like to see a little bit of that also. But I would definitely say that, yes, digital is definitely where it's at the moment. It helps in so many ways as well, because, you can get your message out much faster. You don't have to wait a month or, even a day for something to come into print. You can immediately put something out. So many brands are breaking big news on their Instagram handles or on Twitter. So, even that is something that is really giving traditional PR a run for its money. And, if they're factual errors, those can be changed very quickly in digital versus, them just being in print for the rest of a brand's life. So I think that those are some very, very strong reasons and factors why people are turning to digital PR for sure. And I would say that, yes, more and more we find that clients are becoming a lot savvier to the value of digital. Certainly, through the lockdown, a lot of print publications really suffered. A lot closed down, a lot went into, maybe issues 3 or 4 times a year versus monthly. So it was a very sad state of affairs there, but I think the digital space became very savvy and a lot more publications sprung up as a result in the digital space. A lot who are, taking media from established print publications and they're moving into the digital sphere. So I think there's a lot that's still to come that we haven't even seen as far as digital PR is concerned. And I would just say that apart from even coverage, what we're finding is that, of course, as we all know, the last, 2 years ago, it was the age of the Insta Live. And, everyone was on Instagram, but it was great because it was the time for people to do that. It was fantastic how everyone was able to communicate. Clubhouse became huge. So there were so many different things that, really helped people still connect, which was really important. I think now it's a lot about new age PR. I think, we look to pitch clients to podcasts. We look to get them onto different handles where, there's so many women-led handles talking about issues and, there are communities who want to hear from women-led brands, on blogs or even just, on their Instagram. So I think that Instagram has become the new blog, certainly, most definitely. And there's so many ways in which we're still helping clients in which to get themselves into these communities, which have grown overnight, which are very relevant for brands and individuals themselves. So I would say the traditional is certainly still something that we have to keep in mind, but most definitely digital is taking the larger piece of the pie for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Gauri, for that insight, because you do work firsthand with so many brands. You've done traditional PR for the same brands. Your same clients may have moved to online now and, want more online presence. So thanks for sharing. I'm going to ask you, Nithya, about social media. Is there any advice? This is a question actually I want to know. Have people given you any advice where you've been like, hey, that's nice, but I'm never going to use it? Or is there something like, that is like everyone uses that strategy, but I do me differently, right? So I've done stuff differently and it's worked. So is there anything that's very typical that someone has said to you and you're just like, oh God, not again?
I get advice all the time. And I think one of the reels and making videos is something. And, my manager, actually, my Instagram manager, she's always, sending me ideas for reels and like what's trending. Like, for example, the Beyonce reel was really trending where everyone goes down and squats, or, there's like this Instagram has many trends, like, right? So she's always sending me these trending reels and I'm just like, I really can't do this. And then like the stuff where the reels or the videos where they're throwing the bag to you and then you disappear, or like you do. It's like, I'm a millennial, I'm not Gen Z, and I have a business. I can't do this. And also with Valia as a brand, I feel like there's a lot of things that I've been advised to do. Like, for example, we did this whole story on, sculptures made out of jewelry, and it was really artistic and it was very beautiful and it was very niche. But the traction on that was very, very low. Bollywood does really well for us, obviously on Instagram. And, anything that's a little alternative doesn't do well, but that doesn't stop me ever from being alternative and doing things in a different way, because that's also the difference between a mass brand and a boutique brand like Valia. And I'm a boutique brand, and our customer is like very niche. And more than anything, like, I feel like you have to decide from the beginning what your brand values are, and you have to stick to them no matter what changes. I mean, you adapt, of course, like digitally, but I just feel like you have to adapt in a way where you're true to your brand, as well as you're keeping up with the digital space. And I think finding that balance is what is key. Like, our numbers and our following doesn't increase or is not as high as a lot of brands in our category, or even as an influencer or like someone who creates content. I feel like a lot of people who started around the same time as me, or even after or before, have like a way higher following than I do. But for me, it's the quality of following, and rather than.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that point a lot. And I'm sure Gauri and Aradhana agree with you too. It's more about the quality than the numbers.
I also want to mention one thing that I observed and I noticed. So my manager was like, your engagement has gone down, and like, you need to do something. I was like, do you realize, like, my audience is more like luxury and it's more niche, and people who are consumers of luxury, they will never comment on anything, and they will rarely like something. They're very like, reserved about, what they show out there, or what people can see. Like, most of them won't have like any pictures on their own profile either. They'll just be like, on Instagram 24/7, but they won't be posting from their phones. And they will be seeing all the content and getting influenced, but they're not necessarily commenting because they're not the type to do that. And a lot of my friends are like that. That's why I observe this and I know this and I understand it. But it's very hard to kind of explain that to another brand.
Correct. Absolutely correct. I think they're the silent spectators, as we call them. They watch everything but don't comment. But thank you. I want to ask you one last thing is, do you ever get tired of social media? I feel like social media has become our everyday and every minute. Do you get fed up?
So many times. In fact, like last month for 5 days, I left my phone and my laptop at home, and I left the city. And I was literally like, I think people were in shock. My friends were in shock. My family, everyone was in shock. They were like, you have left your phone and your laptop and just left. I was like, yeah. And it was great. I mean, I didn't think twice about it. So I know that I'm not addicted to it, in the sense that I can, like, if it's not around me, I'm okay. And I wasn't fidgety, or I wasn't like anxious about it at all, which was which I was kind of nervous about. I was like, oh God, maybe I'll be really anxious without my phone, but I wasn't, which was nice. But having said that, when I do have my phone around and when I'm in the city and I'm in work mode, if I didn't have work on the phone, or my work had nothing to do with, the WhatsApp and Instagram, I literally would be that kind of person who would have like a Nokia 1180, whatever it was called.
Yeah, Nokia 1100. Yeah, good point. That's actually very true. Okay, Aradhana, I want to ask you. So there are two parts to your business, like building a brand and sales. How do you kind of distinguish between the two, and what mediums do you use to promote both? So like where people can actually click and buy a shoe, or where people get to know about Kai, the brand? That's my first question. And my second question for you is, unlike social media influencers, though I know influencers do this as well, or brands which are people-led brands, brands like Kai need to spend money on advertising. Right, you have to put down some money to actually garner reach, to get more clients. You can't sit with that same small clientele, right? How do you make these decisions? Are you, do you research them well? Do you see what others are doing in the market, or you just take a risk and go for it?
Okay, so to answer your first question, brands versus sales. So
yeah, which mediums do you kind of use?
Honestly, Shan, brand, for us, I feel like our brand enhances our sales and our sales enhance the brand. So they kind of amplify each other, and pretty much they're pretty much interlinked.
Yeah.
So the key is to find the balance and maintain it. But so when we do collaborations or any marketing initiatives, we know the essence behind each our thought. So whether we're doing a collaboration which is only going to enhance our brand, we know it's not going to be great in terms of sale, or we're not looking towards the whole sale perspective, but yes, we're looking to elevate our brand through that initiative or a collaboration. Versus sometimes when we do a sale on our website, we know that's completely sales driven.
Yeah.
Or when we do a product line, so even a product line, sometimes we're like, okay, this way it's very experimental. So, but we know it's going to really elevate the brand. We're doing something really cool in the whole branding perspective, and sales will fall in eventually. May not not for that line, but maybe for the rest of our product line. So they pretty much are interlinked for us, I feel.
Got it. Yeah.
And in terms of branding, yes, we do a lot of collaborations every month, at least 3 to 4 small key collaborations, and then we have 2 a year that we do. So that's where you get to know about Kai through different audiences, because that's the kind of people that we try to collaborate with. Different types of people, different types of brands are going to help us reach a different type of audience, and it helps us get very creative internally. The second question is about how do we spend money online?
Yeah, are you like do you take risks when it comes to actually putting money in different places, or is it well researched and you only stick to a few pages or platforms where you advertise?
So it's a bit of both. We of course do a lot of research, and we have been doing a lot of research over the years, and we know what's working, not working, and we also take a calculated risk out here. So it's kind of a bit of both. But we have a lot of data. So the data drives our the factor of how much we should spend in that month or in that season. And there's certain metrics that we follow that, okay, we see how the trend is going for us, and based on that we decide, okay, this month I think we should up our spends, or then we just cap it at this and just maintain that, because we know these are the months that our sales are not going to be so great, or there's certain seasons that are there for footwear.
Yeah.
So we kind of that's through our data that we've been seeing, and we also sometimes take a risk, because that's the only way we learn, and the way the algorithm is changing constantly, you really can't have one set manual of how it's going to work through the year. So you constantly research, constantly take risks, and that's how it works with us.
Yeah, you don't reach 2,79,000 overnight. So Aradhana, kudos to you guys. Whether it's your calculated risks or whether it's your research, whatever it is, it's been steady for your digital growth for sure, which has both, like you said, created a brand. And I know that you are building a personal brand on LinkedIn as well. And that I know is consistency. Gauri will agree with us as well. Consistency for LinkedIn, right, Gauri?
Yes,
if anyone's on LinkedIn. Okay, so my next question to you, Gauri, is why have Twain, why have you stayed away? I've been dying to ask this. Why have you stayed away from being a social media agency? Because I know a lot of people, when they ask for an intro to Twain, they always tell me, will they do my social media too? And how does digital in your industry extend beyond social media? When a brand comes on board and says, we want to sign you up, what else apart from Instagram and Facebook and, Twitter and stuff? And also my last question for you is, what is the greatest thing about digital according to you? That's one. And is there anything that you warn your clients when you sign them on? Do you warn them about anything like, hey, listen, I know you signed me up for a digital package, but here goes.
No, those are again great questions. I think that, just answering the first one about why we've stayed away from being a social media agency, I think it goes back to what I said at the start, that we have to be authentic to what we are best at. And I think that, for us, while we believe we're very good at the PR, the marketing, the brand collaborations, just the kind of algorithms, like Aradhana was saying, that, social media needs us to track the kind of digital campaigns, finding audiences, doing paid campaigns, etc. That really is an expertise which we have not developed. And so what we do is, very respectfully work hand in hand with actual social media marketing agencies, digital marketing agencies for brands. And we're very happy to do that in tandem, because we feel like we just need to stay within our area of expertise. So, and we're completely right. We get a lot of questions every day on, people asking us to manage their social. So what we do, the way that digital extends in a communications firm like ours beyond social media is that we're very strong at content. And we obviously find that good content is a huge part of course, having a presence on social media, both for a brand and for an individual. So we work with a lot of people to help them build out that content. Because at the end of the day, again, it's about that authentic voice. So even when people come to us to say, what should we look for in a social media agency? We say, someone who understands your brand well enough that even if they're posting for you, it sounds like it's you, or it sounds like it's the brand ultimately, because it's very important to have that. Otherwise, again, you will lose engagement from your audience. So I think that where we really stand out is being able to help with the content, driving the themes, and really helping a brand or an individual understand that these are the ways in which you will best excel when it comes to taking your presence online into the digital space. Of course, what always helps, and which we do, is when brands engage with influencers, that immediately impacts their digital presence. Any collaborations that are done in the digital space are, they're pretty blurry lines. So all we'd like to stay away from is the actual what an actual social media agency will do as far as numbers and campaigns are concerned. Like that stuff is really not in our realm of expertise. And I would say that the greatest thing about digital is really just how it's allowing people to connect across, throughout the world, right? Like today, I have a client who gets coverage in Vogue print. That's wonderful. And, a lot of people will probably see it if they're at the salon, or, if it's just on their desk, if they subscribe, or wherever it is. But, tomorrow, if you're on Vogue's website, it can be accessed through the world, So I think that kind of reach is really very, very important. And it's just amazing how far we've gone with digital in general. And I think just connecting, I think being able to actually, have a voice. I again go back to the COVID example. I don't think many of us, many brands, many individuals would have been able to continue making the impact that they did through the lockdowns if we hadn't had the power of digital. So that was really something that we think is wonderful when it's used in the right way. Of course, as you said, there's so many trolls out there, but I think that there can be a lot of positives that we can focus on also. And just, what we caution our clients against when it comes to digital is that there are spends, there will have to be spends involved. You have to, treat it as something where it's part of a budget. So I think that that's something that a lot of clients come to us saying, where we have very tiny budgets, and we in fact sometimes say, don't put it into traditional PR, definitely put it towards your digital, because that's just so much more relevant for you. And then just back to the point that, like everything, it takes work, it takes time to see results. And I think that that's something, I think because digital moves so fast, that people think they'll also see results as fast. So I think it's really important for them to therefore realize that it needs consistency, and it's going to need, the time that you put in, and just having your subject matter has to just remain, there has to be some consistency basically towards, like really is the final word for it, and ultimately you have to be true to what you're talking about, because I think just, when you come to trends, it's very easy to get swayed by trends, all right, today should I be trying to do this, tomorrow should I be trying to do that. We see that more with our brands because they feel like they want to give a little bit to everybody, but then you kind of lose your voice as a result. So these are the things that we caution clients against, and hopefully most of them listen. And I think that there's a huge impact that can be made and is being made in the digital space as a result.
Awesome. Thanks, Gauri, for those insights. That's super. My last question to all three of you, Nithya, I'm going to ask you first, is tell us a little bit about your learnings. Any tip you could share that you feel you discovered on your own for Malai, for Valia, and Nithya Arora? Since you manage 3 brands, how different is it? And have you had any digital growth learning?
I feel like collaborations, I think that's the best tip I can give, because I'm not into trends and I'm not into like algorithms and you should do all of that. But for me, I think it's been collaborating with people who I think are on brand for us, and collaborating with artists. We've collaborated with like a digital artist from California, and done really beautiful artworks for Malai. We collaborated with Priyanka Prism. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she does really beautiful sculptures for Architecture Digest. We collaborated with her to do like the jewelry sculptures. So just collaborating with people and creating, I guess it gives you like a fresh perspective on your brand, on the design, and obviously a great audience. So
awesome,
that would be my hot tip.
The takeaway is definitely collaboration. I totally agree with you. Aradhana and Gauri, I'm going to ask you something a bit different. Can you tell us how you've collaborated? Because I know both of you have done this in different ways. Collaborating with influencers and working with influencers to grow your digital brand or to grow your brand. So, how has it worked for you? How did you go about doing it? Aradhana, you want to go first?
Yeah. So we so far have done one with the stylist, with Riya Kapoor, and we did one earlier with Ashna Shroff. Both very different because, I mean, they both have such different personalities, and that's something great because that comes out in the collection that we do. So with Riya, she had her own sense of style. She knew exactly what she wanted, and that helped us in a massive way, in the sense of we knew what direction we were going, and she knew exactly, this is who I am. I want my entire collection to resonate who I am.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting because through all the collaborations we've done so far, we have learned so much as a brand. We have learned how to push our creativity, not be very conservative, try and do as much more that we can do, get into new categories. With Riya, we got into boots, which is something that we never thought we would ever do. Getting more into now heels. We were known always as a flats brand, but we experimented with different types of heels, colors. So that's how we did with Ashna. We introduced our own structured heels with Ashna, and we did a lot of different colors that we never experimented earlier. So it really helps our brand grow in different ways, reach great set of audiences, and it's just a great brand building way of, collaboration is a great brand building experiment.
Awesome. Gauri, what about you? Have you worked with them very closely?
We have, and I think, just to kind of flip the perspective on this also, which I think might be interesting for the audience, is that we also work a lot with micro influencers and nano influencers, and we're definitely continuing to realize their value, because I think that while influencers have done an incredible job for brands and for all of us in getting the word out, messaging, brand messaging, etc., what micro and nano influencers do is that they have much smaller audiences, but they're very target audiences, because a lot of times a brand will come to us as an agency and say, we want buzz, but we also want sales. Obviously, that's obviously the end goal of the brand. And, and while we're a PR firm and not a sales firm, what we can do is connect them to these micro influencers who have audiences who could be potential buyers. And that mouth is just so strong within these communities. So tomorrow, Shan, if I come to you and, your friends are, they look to you as a tastemaker, and you start recommending my brands to them, they'll probably listen to you more than, even 800 Instagram ads, or like, 5 write-ups in a magazine, or whatever it is, right? Because that's so fleeting in a way. So I think that our learning and just the way that we're looking to work, of course, while working with larger influencers also, is really tapping the potential of the smaller ones, because that is really helping our brands be able to hopefully translate to sales. So that's a really interesting thing that we're doing at the moment.
Awesome. That's a great tip, Gauri. Thank you. Thank you so much, all you ladies, for sharing your insights, being, honest about your brands and how you've grown. It's been lovely to chat with you. I learned so much. And we're getting some comments, which I'm going to read. What an enlightening and honest session, an evening well spent. So everyone's really enjoying this. Thank you so much. Vidhi, over to you. Thanks for having us here. And thank you, lovely ladies, for saying yes and joining the panel today.
Shan, it was great.
Vidhi, could you start your video?
Hello. Please unmute Vidhi. Selvi. Yeah.
She is unmuted. She has to start her video.
Yeah, start. Yeah, start.
Hi, everybody. So sorry for the internet connectivity issues here, but would really like to take this opportunity to thank all of y'all, Aradhana, Gauri, Nitya, and especially Shan for moderating such an informative and inspiring session. As I told Shan, we all love networking now, and we believe that, with its 51,000 members, has become one of the most credible platforms for young and budding entrepreneurs in the country. I'd now like to hand it over to Shardul, who's the co-chair, to give the vote of thanks. Thank you. And like I said, very, very proud to have this all-women panel for the first time in the chamber. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon to all of you. I think I'm sure all of you have really enjoyed this session as much as I have, and it's really a privilege to have the entire panel being there as women, and we are indeed proud that our chairman is also women, Vidhi. And I'm sure that our audience have also enjoyed it as much as we all have at our end. And at the outset, I must thank our moderator, Shan. Shan, you have been really good by giving the right kind of direction and the kind of questions, and we are really thankful to you, Shan, and all our three speakers. Thank you so much, Aradhana. Your store is something that I just got to know from Vidhi. It's completely online, but definitely I will try to request my wife as well, and we will try to visit your online store. It's very, very popular. Thank you so much, Nitya. You're managing three different personalities, and you have been able to synergize it. We hope and pray that you reach to the next level. All the very best to you, Nitya.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gauri. I think the trained communications is being doing exceedingly well, and we are really thankful to all three of you, Gauri. Thank you, Nitya, and thank you, Aradhana, for being such wonderful speakers at this forum today, and very well moderated by Shan. I'm sure with your words of wisdom and the kind of experience which all of you have shared with our audience, we all have gone much more enriched. Thank you so much, Ajit ji, for sparing your valuable time, sir, being the Director General. And thank you so much, Vidhi, for ably leading the IMC YLF. And I am sure this particular evening has gone really very well. And thanks, not the least, to our audience who have been a great patient listener. If there are some questions in the chat box, can we take them up, or we just conclude there?
Vidhi, unmute.
Yeah. Sorry, like I said again, for the internet connectivity issues. I guess so. Are there any questions, Shan, you would like to address, or we could?
So actually, I covered them in the questions. That's why I didn't take them individually.
Sure. So I think we're done for the day, and thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, guys. I hope you all have more all-women panels more often, and this is not the first and the last one.
Yes,
I'm surprised it took so long, because I've known
as I told
those.
Sorry. Yeah, Nitya, sorry. Please go ahead.
I said I've known IMC to be like, the most happening exhibition of women and women entrepreneurs. And for it to have taken so long to have an all women's panel, I'm actually very surprised. And I hope you guys can make up for it.
Yeah, we at least at the YLF, like I said, at the Young Leaders Forum, like I told Shan, we were extremely excited to have this where everybody is a woman, you know. So, and like I said, it made me so happy to have this. And
yes,
yeah,
to lots more.
To lots more with all of you. Thank you so very
Thank
much.
you. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.